Well, hey there, entrepreneur. Welcome back to the Scale to Sell podcast. We're glad to have you here for episode number 39, how to make more money while working less in your business. To be honest, it sounds pretty good, right? Make more, work less, right, Steve?
That's right, because business owners, it's a grind sometimes, for years and years, decades even. I put in, 7 days a week, how many hours, I can't even track it. 40 hours is like part-time. So, but you get to the point where you go, hey, it's not all about working anymore.
There's got to be a better way. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And we're going to start off by talking about some of the common problems that we see among the business owner clients that we talk about, that we talk with about what's going on in their situations. When we hear from them, there's a lot of things that keep coming up in these conversations and things that we hear of from our other business owner friends or from other coaches in the industry too. And it really gets us to that point where we realize we need a better way to create those systems, those processes that are going to allow us to do the work that we want to focus on and really let that be the high leverage work that we can add to without having to sacrifice other areas of our life in the process.
Early on, you got to do it. You got to lay the foundation. It's all hands on deck, and it's sometimes all consuming. But you get to the point. Myself, I got to that point. About 5 years ago, I said I just flippantly threw it out there. I want to work less, make more. Work less, make more. And it's kind of was just a flippant remark at first, and then I started putting things into action to make sure I could get there. Right.
So some of the common problems that we hear from business owners or that we see as we start talking with them about what their work situation looks like is, one, business owners wearing too many hats and getting stuck in the daily operation of things. Instead of adding the high leverage work that is really going to allow the business to grow and scale in an incredible way, being the leader of the business, you often find them doing the work of the business, getting stuck in the jobs, putting out fires, doing all those things to just get to the next day, complete that one task.
They stink at delegating, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so that's one of those areas where we see that. The other one, some of the other ones that we have here, the trap of being busy versus being productive, right? There's a lot of things that could consume our day that quote unquote keep us busy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what we're doing is productive, that is really moving the needle forward in our business and allowing us to grow in the way that we're wanting to.
Absolutely. And the reason for this was not only my own conversation, and this is probably off your script a little bit, but, I'm turning 69 years old. I, like many owners out there, don't have any plan to step away. A lot of business owners would always like to be there, but I just want to have some more time. You wake up and you realize that, you want to have some life. And it's not like I didn't have a great life, but I just wanted to have more time. And so that was part of it. But the other part of it is that you find out that if your business is not set up where if you can't take time out of your business to be away from the business, it's probably not ready to grow either. So whether you're looking to stay, and you could talk about burnout. You're there so much and you hear owners, I'm burnt out. I just can't. Now the business is worth less because you've taken your foot off the gas pedal and it's not anyway. So it's just bad all the way around.
All of the things. And so, what you were talking about there hits a few of these, right? Being out of balance with the rest of your priorities. You're so consumed with the one aspect of it because you feel like you're stuck. You don't even recognize the opportunity of stepping back, of delegating as appropriate. And you end up being the one that limits your business because you're trying to do everything and you have to be involved in every single decision and every level. You're the one that's doing most of the sales and the client relationship building. And so it's all dependent on you, or at least mostly dependent on you. And you can't scale a business if it's just you are the one that is producing and everyone else is just kind of supporting you in some other sense. Two of the other ones that we have here, the hidden cost of doing low value work instead of high leverage action. And then psychological barriers, the fear of letting go, control issues, not being able to delegate. But to that one, the hidden cost of doing low value work instead of high leverage actions. So you're in the financial services space. You've had the opportunity to coach financial advisors and insurance agents before. I remember a conversation that we had. We were presenting one time at a conference a few years ago, and we were talking about this with a number of the agents and as a part of one of the presentations we were giving. And part of what we were sharing with them was this idea of income producing activities, right? For a lot of solo agents out there, they're having to do everything themselves, or they think they have to, if they're the only ones in the business. So not only the actual part that they need to, the actual meeting with clients, building the plans or developing the policies, that sort of thing, but also all of the administrative things that just go along with running a business. And your question that you posed to them was about what are they doing, right? Like what is actually going to grow their business? And we were talking about the income producing activities. And you were giving the example of, I do marketing and I meet with clients, right? The other aspects of the business, from the financial side to the administrative, answering phone calls to all those other things, that is not what I need to be focusing on, because you're the producer. You're the one that has those certain responsibilities. And so if you're not seeing clients,
it's costing me money. If I'm not in front of people talking about either sharing with who we are and what we do, or it's a new prospect wanting to bring them on as a client, everything else doesn't put money in my pocket. It has to be done, but I can find other people.
Doesn't have to be done by you.
It has to be. That's true.
Yeah.
It has to be done, but not by me, but in the beginning, I had to do all that stuff. But I knew if I was going to grow, I was running out of time. I didn't have time. I was working a bunch of hours in the day and weeks and Saturdays and all that kind of stuff. But if I wanted to scale my business, it needed to be where I delegated things that I didn't want to do or was okay at doing, but just wasn't profitable for my business.
Well, and that's a really good point, is that sometimes with business owners, you are multi-talented. You can do a lot of different things, but that doesn't mean that just because you're proficient at it, that it's going to be profitable for you to do it in your business.
Or they say it's an expense.
Yeah.
It's an expense. No, it's an investment. If I bring somebody on here, I can see more people, get more jobs done, whether it's construction or working on cars or houses or whatever. It's like one of my home services or my businesses, business to business businesses, and it's like 30 odd years ago. I knew when I was out there working, and a lot of times at nighttime, I was making X number of dollars. But if I wanted to leverage this thing up, if I wanted to create some momentum, I need to bring on, I bring on some new staff. I'd make less per store or per contract, but I can now have dozens or hundreds of them going on to leverage up my time, and or it just allows you to focus on what's important.
Yeah, sometimes the short-sightedness of, well, I could do this and save the money, actually ends up costing you so much more in the potential that you gave up in order to do that. And that's kind of at the heart of what we're doing here, is overcoming those misconceptions about the way things have to be or the way that things currently are, in order to not be lazy, or not because you hate the work that you do, but to really optimize it and create the space where you can do the things that you should be doing in the business, and also give you the time and the energy to be able to accomplish those priorities that you have outside of work.
You'll make more, you'll work less.
It's so simple.
Even if you don't ever exit, like some businesses really don't. So if something happens to you, you got systems and processes set up, or just taking more time off. It was a struggle before, going away for a week and and you're always on the phone, checking back in. If there's a problem, whatever, you're always back in. So you're never really on vacation, or in the evening time or on weekends, you're always taking a phone call. It's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for the business. And if whether you're looking to grow or exit, it's not market. It reduces the value of your business.
I remember as a kid, I don't say this, I did not complain at the time, and I'm not saying this to complain now, but I do remember as a kid, like, we'd be on vacation and there'd be times where it's like, I've got to make these phone calls, like I've got to do this webinar and these sets of things.
Or do my radio shows live.
Or do the radio shows live, and everyone had to be quiet.
In the cabin in Tennessee, you got to be quiet. Poppy's recording or doing a radio show live. So it's
the worst was back in the day before, good internet hotspots were a thing, and it was like, let me find the Starbucks that has Wi-Fi
or
that we
Mackie
could
D's
use,
or whatever it might be.
Sitting in the parking lot somewhere. Yeah, been there, done that. But like, look now, seeing where it's come and where we're at, it's just enjoyable to know that you can step away and not have to think about it, and it's just more free.
Systems and processes to take care of things.
So the shift to make more, work less. We're going to talk about a few of these points that if you're going to make this transition, if you're going to make this shift in your business, partly a mental shift, a mind shift of what is possible and what you need to do and think about. The first one is, what high level work should you focus on to have an exponential impact on revenue and scalability? I think about it this way, right? We hear the 80-20 rule all the time. How can I put in the 20% of the effort in this case that is going to yield the highest rate of return that I can get on that investment of time and energy? And for too many business owners, they're stuck in the, putting out the fires, dealing with this situation or that situation, where they mess up and they miss out on the opportunity to do what is really going to help them scale in the business. And they're doing the low value work, the low level things, instead of the things that are really going to give them the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak.
No doubt. You have to identify. And if you have a hard time identifying it, we at Scale to Sell can help you out with that. It's too. And sometimes you're in the middle of things and you can't see it, but stepping back and having the experience of our own businesses that we've ran and all the other businesses that we've helped grow their business by just making simple little improvements I made a comment at a conference one time. We were in the Caribbean, somewhere, the Bahamas. I can't remember exactly. And they asked me to speak on the final night of this conference. And I said, if you can find one thing to do for the rest of this year, one thing that would improve your business, what would that one thing be? Sometimes it jumps right out at you and you're aware. But, it doesn't have to be major changes right here. It's little changes sometimes that makes a big impact. And you'll be fresher, you'll be healthier, you'll be more profitable. And if you do have to exit, you want to do it on your own terms. Your company will be more valuable. And if you need to transition it to your kids at some point in time, if you're doing everything and can't have a life, it's a warning sign. It's like a check engine light on your car. If you can't take some time off, it should be a warning sign that, can my kids do this? What happens if I get hurt, have a stroke, or just want to retire? It's not marketable. It drags down the value of your business. Well, Steve, I'm doing $10 million a year in sales. Yeah, but if it's not transferable, it doesn't mean anything. So
absolutely. We actually, by the time that this recording is live and out into the world, we will have enjoyed our spring break time together as an extended family. And one of the things that we shared in our Business Builder Thursday email, for those of you that are subscribed, hopefully you saw it, is the vacation test, right? This idea of what happens if I'm away from my business for an extended period of time. And that's really one indicator of, do you have these systems and processes in place that are going to help you be able to continue to grow your business that is not dependent on you, the business
That's owner. A good sign. If you go away for a weekend, or you're out to dinner with your spouse or your family, are you that person that has to, I got to take this call. If I don't take this call, bad things can happen.
Yeah. It really is. It's a good indicator of that. The other thing, so we talked about the high level work. What's the high level work that you should be doing? What are the systems and processes that you can put into place so that the business continues to operate without you having to be there micromanaging, be dependent on you, the business owner? But the other thing that we want to consider is, what can you eliminate, automate, and delegate that is currently on your normal weekly schedule here? I love this phrasing. It's from Michael Hyatt, if you're familiar with the Full Focus Planner. That idea of eliminate, automate, and delegate. There are things that you're doing that are probably not even necessary to do in what's going on. Eliminate them. Okay, great. But for the other things that have to get done, maybe it's little things like keeping up with your email, right? Pointless and in terms of the high value of things, there's a lot of other things that you could be focusing your time on. Not something that you should be going through and trying to worry about.
People say, "I'll send you an email." Well, unless my staff tells,
flagged it.
I get hundreds of emails a day, so they point out the top few, right?
But what are the things on your calendar that you should be doing? And what are the things that need to either find a way to automate the system or delegate it to someone else who is better suited for that type of work, who is, we'll just say, getting paid for that level of work or service, right? If you think about it, how much, if you were to break down what your hourly rate is worth, right, as a business owner. So take what you make in a year and divide it by the number of hours you work, or, do it on a monthly basis. That's probably an easier figure to think about. What is an hour's worth of your time worth? And when you start comparing that to what it takes to manage your calendar, book your travel, do this or that, you start realizing you would be a highly compensated person for doing a lot of the tasks that you are stuck doing. Instead, you can delegate that, free up your time, and now you can invest and repurpose that into something that is actually going to make you money and cover the costs of what it takes to delegate and free up the time for what you should be doing anyway.
Delegate's one of those things. It's hard for some people to give up control.
Yep.
My wife was like that. She's the CFO of our businesses. And I've told her for years, she's I've got to do this. I got to do that. We have other people that can free up your time, and you have to do this. We have to have a backup game plan. So the delegate thing, start with a couple things, and then, but add on to it to qualified, competent people. Yeah. Some people go, well, they can't do it as well. Okay, maybe not, but it may be better. They might do it better.
Even if they're not perfect at it yet, or exactly where you would be in this moment with the amount of time that you've done that particular skill, isn't it better to at least, 80, 90% good to go? And with some little learning potential in there too, they'll get better over time as they start to do it, and free up your time to be able to do the things that you should be focusing on, maximizing that. So here's some takeaways to kind of summarize some of these things to help you make more, work less. Conduct a time audit. See what you do in a week. Keep track of how you spent your time at work and what those tasks really did for your company. Were they the low value stuff that you should be automating or delegating to someone on your team? Or are you really being able to spend the quality time doing the high leverage, the profitable things that are going to add value to your business throughout your day? Identify just one process, right? What you were just talking about, that you can either eliminate, get rid of altogether, or automate through technology or systems that you've gotten that you can put into place, or delegate to someone on your team who is qualified, who you can trust to do the job, and who can free up that time for you to be able to reinvest and repurpose into something high leverage that's going to create something even better for your business and give you the time, the margin outside of business that you need as well. I think those things are just an amazing thing that, when you think about what you were talking about earlier about business owners experiencing burnout because they've gone too far down that road, they've been doing all of the things themselves and haven't given themselves the opportunity to create a business that they can love and contribute to in a meaningful way without the business being dependent on them and an energy sucker, a time sucker, all of those things away from the other aspects of their life that they also want to enjoy.
Work-life balance, time is really valuable here. So if you're wasting time, let's reel that back in. But the byproduct of that is that you'll have more money in your pocket. The business will be ready to grow or more profitable if you exit. And or you're going to have the time. Doesn't matter how much money you have if you die with it all in something. So make sure you spend time with your family too. But early on in the business, it's all hands on deck. You got to do everything you can. But once you get it up to cruising level, you got to tweak it out to make it more profitable and have that work-life balance.
Well, and just think about what would happen if you started thinking about these systems earlier, even on a simple level of what it would mean to get back some of that time in those other stages of your business, what that would allow you to do and where that would allow your business to go. It's a great opportunity if you take the action to do it. Go to scaletosell.com/value. Get a clear picture of what your business is worth and let us help you see what those opportunities are to help you make more, work less, enjoy work and your life outside of it. That's the best of both worlds, right? What a great opportunity you have as a business owner if you take action. Again, scaletosell.com/value, or click the link in the show notes below. We can't wait to talk to you. Until then, keep scaling.
Thank you for listening to Scale to Sell with Adam Burton and Steve Burton. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.scaletosell.com or give us a call at 757-313-4080. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Scale to Sell. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing, tax, legal, or other advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified professionals with any questions you may have regarding your personal or professional plans. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.